Okay, are you or have you been confronted with a decision for a three-row SUV or an eight-seater? If so, then you are definitely at the right place. Do not move an inch. The truth is that sometimes it can be difficult for families to choose a three-row SUV. There are so many of them in the markets, like the Toyota Highlander, the Hyundai Pilot, the Kia Telluride, all in the market. However, the 2021 Hyundai Palisade 3 years down the line just earned an incredible award that might blow the competition away, and I'm just going to highlight that and then help you with your decision making if that is where you are. The Hyundai Palisade is a three-row SUV, as we all know, with 8 seats. A 7-seat layout is optional, and that will trade the second row bench seat for a pair of captain's chairs, right? The first and the second row seats are supportive, very nice cushioned, and there is generous headroom and legroom even for taller occupants. So take a look at what is behind us, and let me just say a big thank you to Round Rock Hyundai that provides us with this opportunity to film this beautiful Palisade. And I want to specifically say a big thank you to Leonard and Marcus of Round Rock Hyundai in Texas, and Uncle Felix of Texas. We're so grateful and we thank you for such an opportunity. You've been so helpful to us. Thank you. Right, now let's get back to the criticals of the Palisade here. Now, when it comes to the critics rating, the Palisade is rated at 9.3 out of 10. That's incredible, right? Now, the interior has 7.7 out of 10, and the incredible award, mind-blowing, is the fact that the safety rating sits at 9.8 out of 10, right? You heard me right, 9.8 out of 10 for the safety. That makes it a very interesting vehicle to look at. A lot of people keep asking the question of, is the Hyundai Palisade worth the money? Yes, of course. One of the most appealing aspects of the Hyundai Palisade is its value for money. That's what we've known Hyundai for. Actually, the Palisade starts off at $32,000 starting price, and undercuts most luxury midsize SUVs by a considerable margin. Right. The interior tech is also strong. A strong point for the Palisade, offering CarPlay, Android Auto as standard. The Palisade is actually the biggest or the largest vehicle in Hyundai's fleet, measuring in at 196.1 inches long with a wheelbase of 114.2 inches. Right, at this point, let's take a look at what we have behind us also again, and then let's use that to break the trims down, the engine sales marks that it's chalked, and the trim differences if possible. So what we have behind us is a basic Palisade. Looks beautiful. I'm sure the design is all expressive. What you're looking at tells you everything that you need to know about the design, so I need not worry myself with this beautiful, bold design for the Palisade. So let me just jump right into trims. We have 4 trims, started with a base, the standard edition, which is the SE. Then you go to the SEL. So the SE starts off as $32,675 starting price. The SEL is second on the line, $35K plus. The limited edition actually starts off at $45K, and the calligraphy, the top dawn, starts off at $46,200. And what we have behind us has a combined MPG of 22, 19 for city, and 26 for highway. Right, so the engine that does that is a V6 3.8 liter GDI that produces 291 horsepower, is an 8-seater, and you have 7 color palette and 8-speed automatic transmission. So that is a standard engine, but I would later highlight the various engines that we have. Let me quickly brush on with the sales. I'm sure that will tell you whether it's doing great or not. So let me start. For the past 3 years, I can only speak definitively to just 2 years, that's 2019 and 2020 sales. And in 2019, Hyundai sold 81,035 pieces of the Palisade in the United States and Korea. Right, Fast forward to 2020, Hyundai doubled the sales progressively from 81,000 to 147,452 units. That is close to 100% progressive growth, and that should tell you whether the Palisade is doing good or not. Right, good. So I'll leave it at that, and then come to lay emphasis on the engines. And we have like two basic engines, a gasoline engine and a diesel engine, but you still have two variants of the gasoline engines, and that comes in 3.5 liter and 3.8 liter gasoline engines, which produces 273 horsepower and 291 horsepower respectively. And the Newton meters here is 247 pound-feet of torque and 262 pound-feet of torque for the 3.8 liter. 0 to 60 for the 3.5 liter is actually between 8.2 seconds and 8.1 seconds for the front-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive versions. Same as the 3.8, 0 to 60 in 7.8 seconds and 7.7 seconds for the all-wheel drive models. So let me just hit the diesel and then we can go forward. The diesel gives off between 190 and 197 horsepower with a lot more torque, that is 325 pound-feet of torque. And 0 to 60 is a bit slower behind the gasoline version, 10.25 for the front wheel drive and 10.5 seconds for the front wheel drive. The diesel tops up at 118 miles per hour and the gasoline tops up at 130 miles per hour. So that is the engine differences. Let me just take you guys through the trim differences, and I'll make it snappy. Right, so from the base level, which starts off at 32,000, you go to the SEL model that starts off 3,300 more dollars over the base model, and this is what you don't get on the base model but you get on the SEL. So you've got a slide sunroof on the SEL, and you get an 8-way power driver seat that you don't get on the standard version. Great. Now the limited edition that comes in at $45,275 adds on to what you get on this SE and then the SEL. So you get a 2-row captain's chair in there on the limited edition. You also get a dual sunroof, a 12.3-inch fully digitized gauge, and you've got a heads-up display in there on the limited edition too. So you know how these things work. You build on the base to get a more powerful trims. The least on the line will be the calligraphy edition, which is top down, starts off at $46,200, and that has the H-track all-wheel drive option on it. Then you've got a 20-inch alloy wheel that's also in the quality leather interior door panel and the premium front fascia. But a lot of people seem to have a problem with the quality leather, with the stink or the smell that it gives. But if you can go past that, you are on the right track. So let's get back to where we were. So these are the trim differences, but people really love the upscale interior ones. It passed the sniff test, and the tech is very easy to use for the people who have actually gotten access to and driven some. It seems like an excellent option for road trips and running errands because of the comfort that the Palisade creates and the space that it provides. Right. So the 9.8 safety rating actually outranks the Kia Telluride, but that does not mean the Telluride is any worse or any bad, right? Okay, so in conclusion, if you can get past the smell in the higher trim models, and if the windshield problem don't feel risky for you, then the Hyundai Palisade is an excellent family hauler to consider. Okay, some reviewer even mentioned that it is a great car for dogs.